Hello and welcome to a guide for Ahri. In this guide, I'm going to be going over everything that you need to know to take your Ahri to the next level. And I'm going to be going over her abilities, combos, her build and situational items, her runes, spells, and a bunch of tips and tricks to take your Ahri to the next level. There's going to be timestamps on the screen right now, but I would highly recommend at least you watch the tips and tricks section, as there are a ton of tips and tricks that you won't find anywhere else on the platform. And I encourage you to watch the entire guide, as I do spend a ton of time making sure that you guys get the best content on the platform, and watching the entire guide will give you a much deeper understanding of this champion and take your Ahri to at least a diamond or master level. So let's get right into it. Alright, so first we're going to be going over Ahri's abilities, but before that we need to be covering her passive. Now what her passive does is every 3 casts of her spells that she hits an enemy champion with, she's going to have her third spell have a heal. So you can see the stacks above her head, and every time I hit an enemy champion with an ability, it doesn't matter which one, it's going to build up my stacks. And at 3 stacks you can see that her ball will turn green, as well as you can see the 3 stacks above her head. And now when you use a skill, it will heal you off of that hit. And to maximize this ability, you want to be using your first skill on minion waves, or if there isn't any minion wave, then just use your second skill. Don't use it on your charm, as that will give you the least amount of heal. So Ahri's first skill is an orb that deals magic damage on the way out and true damage on the way back in. So this orb is a really great skill for clearing minion waves and dealing true damage to your targets. It deals a ton of damage, especially if you're able to hit the second phase. You can also use your ult and flash to reposition while your orb is going out to hit your orb in ways that you didn't even think were possible. So it's really important that you try to hit that true damage part especially. Ahri's second skill boosts her move speed and it decays after a little while, and also shoots out 3 foxfires that will attack the nearest target. However, if you do auto attack a certain champion, then the foxfires will prioritize that target, as well as if you charm them, then even if you are farther away from that target, it will prioritize that charmed target before hitting any other enemy targets. So that's an important thing to note with her second skill. Lastly, we have Ahri's charm, and this is probably the most iconic ability in her kit other than her ult. And what it does is it shoots a skill shot that will charm an enemy, making them come towards you and take extra damage for the next 5 seconds. So you can see how long the extra damage duration is by the pink things that are at the base of the enemy. So also, if you charm an enemy, they'll take more damage from all your other skills. So that is also important to note when you want to deal the max amount of damage with your skills. You want to be charming them first, and then after that using your other abilities to follow up. Lastly, we have Ahri's ultimate, which is a really useful ability in the game, which effectively gives her 3 different blinks and 3 different dashes, which she can use to dash over walls and chase down an enemy or kite away. And when you dash near an enemy, it can hit up to 3 enemy champions or minions that are nearby you. And it's a really great skill to have, and it allows Ahri to have such a high skill ceiling and have so much outplay potential. And when she's put in the right hands, this ability is absolutely broken on her. Alright, so now we're going to be going over Ahri's combo. And the first combos that you need to learn are Ahri's flash combos, and these are Ahri's bread and butter combos that you really need to know to catch opponents off guard, and it can lead into a lot of other combos. So the first one is pretty basic. It's where you can extend the range of your skill shots using flash, and it looks just like that. And if you want to do it with your charm, the same thing applies. But you can also use this to hit enemy champions at weird angles. For example, if they are hiding behind their minion wave, then instead you can flash to the side and then be able to charm them from a really weird angle when they're not expecting it. When you do this, it also animation cancels charm, so it's a lot easier to hit. And this is a lot more applicable with her charm than her first skill, because her first skill is a lot easier to dodge. But you can also flash combo her ult. So you can use your ult and flash to extend the range of where they get hit. So usually you want to be ulting and then flashing when you're chasing down an enemy. Not only will this help your ult reset faster, it'll also deal a bit of damage after you flash into range. And all three of these combos are pretty useful, but the most useful one I would say out of all three of them is the charm combo, because you're going to be using this when enemy minions are in the way. Alright, so now we're going to be going over Ahri's level 3 trait, and this is the combo that you want to be using after you've already hit a charm. So after you've charmed them, then you can use your first skill and your second skill to deal the max amount of damage. The reason why you want to start off with your charm is both to CC them, but also to guarantee the hit on your first skill as well as your second skill. And also when you charm an enemy, they're going to be taking more damage for 5 seconds. So that's exactly why you want to be using this combo. So if I want to do the combo again, it's just going to be your third skill, your first skill, your second skill, and then you can use an auto attack just to deal a little bit more damage, and you can follow up with more auto attacks and use your skills again once they come off of cooldown. If you find that your enemy is constantly hiding behind minions, or that they're just playing really safe around their minions, and you still want to hit them with his combo, then what you can do is use the flash combo that we already learned to have an easier hit on your charm. So just like that, and after you've charmed them, then just follow up with the exact same combo, and you should be able to damage them. So you want to be going for a combo like this if you have your enemy around 30 to 40% health, and you can finish them off with Ignite and this burst combo. Alright, so now we're going to be learning Ahri's level 5 all-in. And how you want to be starting this combo off is your charm. You want to usually be starting your combos after you hit a charm, because that's how you're going to be dealing the maximum amount of damage. So it starts off the same way as your level 3 combo, where you use your charm and your first skill. But after that, you want to be using your ult, your second skill, and then another ult charge, an auto attack, and then another ult charge and an auto attack. So you want to be using your ult charges and an auto attack in between to deal the maximum amount of damage. Alright, so the last combo that you're going to be learning on Ahri is her combo that you want to be using when you're chasing down a target. But before I go on how to do this combo, I just want to let you know that these are not all the combos that Ahri can do. Ahri has so much skill expression in her kit, and she has tons of different combos that you can do, but I'm just showing you the most useful ones that you can do and the ones that will put out the highest damage. So let's get right into her ult combo. So now I'm going to be showing you her chase down combo. So how she wants to be starting this combo off is she wants to be ulting towards the target, and then right when she's going to be in range, she can use her charm and flash to animation cancel and catch the target off guard. After that, you can just follow up with more damage like your first skill and second skill, and it doesn't really matter. You can follow up with more auto attacks and just freestyle with your ult, dodging skill shots and using it as you should. But the most important part is you're going to be ulting and then charm flashing, because that's going to be what will CC your opponent. Alright, so now we're going to be going over Ahri's build. But before I go over her build, I just want to tell you that I want to thank you guys so much for watching my videos, and the support on the channel has really been amazing. And if you're new to the channel then I really want to welcome you, and if you do enjoy my content, please hit the like button and subscribe, as it does help the channel out a ton. We are nearing 1,000 subscribers, I can't believe it, and the support on the channel recently has just been amazing, especially from the viewers in the US and Brazil and the rest of Americas. So shout out to you guys if you guys are watching from there. But with that, let's continue on to the build section of this video. So the first item that you want to be taking with Ahri is her Luden's Echo, and the reason why you want to take this item is because it gives you ability power, max mana, and ability haste, and it's just an overall great item to have as a first item. And it also gives you AoE damage, splashing targets if you have your passive up. The second item that you want to be going is Awakened Soul Stealer, and the reason why I like taking Awakened Soul Stealer is it allows you to snowball the game really hard, as the cooldown reduction that it gives you on your ult is really amazing with Ahri, especially when you have such an impactful and versatile ult like Ahri's. Having that on a shorter cooldown really helps out a ton. However, there are a couple other options for her second item. The first option that you can go for is Liandry's Torment, and this one will give you a bit more max health, as well as a passive that will deal more damage over time. So this is when you want to be going for a bit more extended trades and team fights. Then you want to be taking Liandry's Torment. The other item that you can also take is Infinity Orb, and this will also give you max health and ability power, but you want to be taking this item when you're not as confident that you're going to be snowballing. So this is an alternate option of Awakened Soul Stealer that will give you a little bit better stats, in my opinion, if you don't get the takedowns that you need with Awakened Soul Stealer. After your second item, you're going to be going for a boot item. I recommend taking Lucidity boots most of the time, as ability haste will allow you to spam your skills a lot more frequently. But you can also go for Mercury Treads if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage and crowd control, like stuns, like slows, and other things like that. Or you can be going for Plated Steel Caps if the enemy team is mostly AD or attack damage, as armor will mitigate a lot of the damage that they deal to you. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can go check out my itemization guide. The link will be in the description down below and on the screen right now. So for the enchants that you want to be going after the boots, it's going to be situational as well, as the first item that you can consider is Proto Belt, and this is what I see most Ahri players build, and it allows you to have a lot more utility with that extra dash. And if you have Proto Belt and take Flash as your spell, then you have 5 dashes, and if that's not OP, I don't know what is. It will also help you clear minion waves a little bit more quicker and give you more safety as well as engage. The other enchants that you can consider are the Quicksilver Sash, which will dispel any CC like a stun, slow, or a taunt or charm, or anything except a knockup. So it's definitely one to consider, especially if you're playing against someone like Twisted Fate or anyone else who has a ton of stuns. The other enchant that you can go for is Zanya's Hourglass or the Stasis, and the reason why you want to be going for this item is if you're up against a lot of burst or knockup that you can't immune with the Quicksilver Sash. You want to be going this item against assassins, especially like Zed and Fizz, who can just one-shot you and burst you down. After that, you can be going for a couple of more situational items. The first one I want to be talking about is Death Cap. You need to go Death Cap. It's essential for Ahri and essential for her damage. It will give you a ton of AP, and even if you don't build it as your fourth item, you will need it eventually. The other situational item that you can be considering is also any of the second items that you haven't built. That includes Liandry's Torment, Infinity Orb, or Awakened Soul Stealer. So whichever one you didn't build. For example, if you find yourself snowballing all of a sudden, then you can rush Soul Stealer just to get that cooldown reduction on your ultimate. But you can also go Liandry's Torment or Infinity Orb if the situation calls for it. So after that, you can also be going for Morlanomicon, and this will give you max health and ability power. But the main reason why you want to build this item is if the enemy team has lots of healing, and that includes champions like Fiora or like Mundo, or like anyone who has a ton of vamp or a healing support like Soraka or Janna, or someone who can just heal the entire team. So that's when you want to be taking Morlanomicon. You don't want to be building this item every single game. And lastly, you can be going for Void Staff, and the reason why you want to go Void Staff is if the enemy team is building lots of magic resist against you. For example, if you're carrying super hard and everyone's building Mercury Treads and other magic resist items, then you want to be taking Void Staff, as that will allow you to penetrate through that magic resist. By the way, if you want to check out my full itemization guide, you can go check it out. As I said, the link will be in the description down below. Next up, we have Ahri's runes, and the first rune that you want to be going for is Electrocute. This will allow her to deal a lot more burst, as well as deal extra damage for any 3-hit combos that you want to dish out. So Electrocute is a pretty no-brainer on Ahri, unless you want to go something weird like Conqueror, but I wouldn't recommend that for newer Ahri players. So for her second rune, I would recommend taking Brutal, as this will give you flat AP right from the get-go and allow you to dish out the damage that you want to be dishing out as a ranged champion level 1 and 2, especially if you're going up against another assassin or a highly volatile matchup. So I would recommend going Brutal on Ahri. The only other choice that you have for your domination rune is Triumph, and the reason why you want to be taking Triumph is you want to be healing missing health after killing any champions or being involved in any assists. So this is a rune that I wouldn't recommend. I like Brutal a bit better, but if you do like taking that heal and you like healing off of getting kills, then if that's your style, then that's up to you. So for your third rune, I would recommend Regeneration. And the reason why you take Regeneration is, especially if you're not taking Mana Flow Band as your last rune, then you're going to run into a couple of mana problems, as well as it's a really great rune in the current meta, as it will help you sustain when your health is lower and help you regenerate that mana if your mana is running low. So I recommend Regeneration. The other rune that you can take is Spirit Walker, and the Spirit Walker will give you both max health and slow resist. So if the enemy team has a ton of CC, then you want to be taking this rune for the tenacity. So for your fourth rune, you can be taking Hunter Genius, and the reason why I like taking Hunter Genius is it allows me to snowball really hard, and with AP characters like Ahri, you want to be having that ability haste to spam your skills as much as possible. The other rune that you can consider is Sweet Tooth, and the reason why you want to be taking Sweet Tooth is to stay healthy in lane and have the choice to give up CS. If you're playing against a matchup that you really don't like, let's say you don't like laning against Zed because you find Zed hard to lane against, then you can take Sweet Tooth and it'll give you a lot more sustain. By the way, if you are having trouble with a certain champion, I have made a melee versus range guide, as well as if you're having trouble with Zed, then a how to counter Zed guide, and I think I used Ahri in that video if you want to check it out. Anyways, the last rune that you can consider is Mana Flow Ban, and this is when you are running into some mana issues. However, if you're not spamming your skills too much and you're not using your second skill to clear wave or do anything a little bit dubious like that, you won't be running out of mana too often. So I would recommend taking one of the other runes, not Mana Flow Ban. For her spells, I usually take Flash and Ignite, and these are my go-to spells with Ahri. You use Flash for the versatility and to give her an extra dash, and Ignite for the extra burst damage, and also if you're playing against healing team comps or an enemy laner that likes Vamp or Heal. The other spell combination that you can take is Barrier and Flash, and the reason why you want to be taking Barrier and Flash is when the enemy team has lots of burst, like if they have a Zed or Fizz and you're not comfortable against them, then you can be taking Barrier, and that's completely fine as well. Alright, so now you've made it to the most important section of the video, the tips and tricks section. So first I'm going to be going over how you should be looking to play Ahri in the early laning phase of the game. So during the early laning phase, Ahri doesn't have too much damage at level 1, and her skill shots are pretty easily dodgeable if the enemy knows what they're doing. So what Ahri does have an advantage of in the levels before level 5 is having the push advantage, especially with her first skill. And if the enemy just tries to contest you while you're pushing, you can just look to harass with your auto attacks, and with your passive you're going to be able to heal up and sustain probably a lot more than your enemy laner. So you can take a little bit worse trades if you need to use your first skill to push. So that's one of the things that you need to take note of. Also, during the early laning phase, Ahri does not do well in extended trades. What she wants to be doing is going for burst trades, because she can just use her abilities, proc Electrocute, and get out of there. Because she does not do too well in extended trades, she wants to be just quickly bursting down her opponents and retreating back until she can go for an all-in with her charm. So during laning phase, you want to be pushing the wave and going for a bit more of the burst trades. So during the mid game, you want to be looking to gank more and roam around because you have the push advantage. You can push the wave really quickly and then look to roam into the side lanes using your charm to pick up a bunch of free kills. A lot of people don't have the map awareness or pinging skills to ping you off of the map, especially if you're below master elo. No one really does this, or even if people do, no one really pays attention to the ping. I'll ping my teammates off of the mid lane and tell them that the enemy is missing and tell them to retreat, and Ahri will still pick up a double kill in the bot lane after I told them to retreat 10 times. So you know that you can go for picks and roam around the map. If you don't know which lane to roam to, then you can go check out my roaming guide as I go over a bunch of tips and tricks for roaming in that one. Especially if you're a beginner mid laner, I would highly recommend watching that guide, as the value it will provide you is going to be immense and it will help your roams to be a lot more successful. So that's what you want to be looking to do in mid game. During team fights in the mid to late game, you want to be looking for picks with your charm on priority targets. This means that you're going to be targeting the enemy ADC or whoever is fed. You don't want to be hitting the front line most of the time. With your ult, you have so much potential to go for picks in the enemy backline, as well as hit enemy champions that you wouldn't be able to do with any other champion than Ahri, as well as having 3 dashes, not just 1 or 2. This means that you can engage with 2 and disengage with 1, or engage with 1 dash and just kite away with 2. So you want to be looking for picks as well as flanks and ganks from really weird angles. That way you can win team fights. So next I have a tip for you, which is also for the mid to late game, and this is not to always group up with your team. Ahri can really play in the side lanes well, and she is one of those champs that can survive, especially with her charm being a kind of get out of jail free card where she can just charm someone and then leave if she is side laning. So you want to be looking to side lane more, and you can even take teleport and side lane more, as your ADC and support should be in the mid lane in the mid game. And if you are stuck with them in mid and just grouping the entire game, then that's not going to give you a lot of gold and XP. And this is one of the traps I see a lot of Ahri mains fall into. You want to be looking to side lane, especially as a mid laner, and you can even take teleport, as I already said, if you need to group up. So when you want to group up is when there's going to be objectives, or you're looking for picks on key targets, like if you're bush camping with your charm with maybe 1 or 2 teammates, so you can quickly burst down a key target if you know they're going to be going through a certain path. So my 5th tip for you is to look for charms and flash. So you can be using your charm flash combo a lot more. I know a lot of Ahris are not confident in their skills and they like flashing before they charm. However, you want to be charming first and then flash to extend the range or catch your opponents off guard. And this is really going to help you get a lot of picks. At the start, it may not work as well as you expect, and you may be missing a few of your charms. Maybe you charm and then you flash just a little bit too late, so it doesn't do the animation cancel, and you just flash and get yourself killed. But when you learn this combo properly and you learn to utilize it, you're going to be so powerful. And this combo is something that is a little bit scary as a beginner player. I know that I missed a lot of these when I first started playing Ahri, but once you get good at it, it will result in so many kills. So don't be afraid of using this combo, especially if you're a beginner Ahri. So my 6th tip for you is just to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video if you made it this far. This channel only provides you with the best educational content on Wild Rift, and these guides do take a really long time to make. So if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe, as it does help the channel out a ton. Also leave a comment if you want to see guides for other champions or guides on different concepts in the game. And we are nearing 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. All the support has just been amazing from all of you guys, so I want to thank you guys for that. And here's a heart for you. Psych, it was an Ahri charm, and now I'm gonna burst you down and take you down with my first skill and second skill. I'm just kidding. Thanks for making this far, and I'll see you soon. Bye.